All right. So thank you, Casey, for that. Let's go ahead and kick this off. So yep, embedded analytics in 10 minutes. Of course, it's a 30-minute webinar. I'm going to show you a few things today, but as usual, hopefully you'll leave here with some really good knowledge on what is happening. So with me today is Casey McGuigan. She's the product manager and product owner for Reveal. She's been with the product since day one, and she's on the chat line and on the Q&A. So if you have any questions during the webinar, please use the chat. Make sure you say to everyone, and then everyone will get the answer. Or you can use the Q&A. It doesn't really matter. So today's agenda, we're going to do 3 slides on the benefits of embedded analytics, and then I'm going to go into a demo. What I'm going to do today is quickly just do a JavaScript HTML app and load some dashboards, and then I'll show you how to create the server and the client. We'll do a little something different there, but if you've watched any of the demos, this is going to be very similar, but the idea today is to show you how easy it really is to get started, because we continue to do work to refine the API and to refine the experience so that it's just stupid simple to get beautiful dashboards in your application. Some housekeeping: you will get a recording of this webinar and the slides in the follow-up email, and of course, ask questions. So what is embedded analytics? Embedded analytics takes your BI capabilities and integrates them within an existing application, bringing insights directly to your users. So we do a lot of customer interactions, obviously, and some customers just don't understand, or some prospects don't understand, like, oh, what is embedded versus having to go to a website, log in, and see my dashboards through some other system, maybe like Power BI, where Power BI, you leave your application and then you go over here and then you can view your dashboards. Well, with embedded analytics, you have an SDK with an API, just like, Infragistics is a component vendor. We sell grids and charts and toolbars and editors and date pickers. You put those in your app and they have an API. It's the same thing with Reveal. Reveal is basically a client library in the form of a JavaScript file and a server library in the form of C#, Java, or JavaScript based on the platform that you're using on the back end. And those have APIs, and you interact with them, and you basically do what you would do with any other API. You're customizing your application. You're making sure that you have the right fonts and the right colors and that it's in the right spot. So you can take these dashboards and really place them anywhere inside of your applications. It's really integrating intelligence into your apps. The whole point is folks don't have to leave your application to get those data insights. So this differs from traditional BI, is that business intelligence is bringing together a range of data sources to analyze through data visualizations in a standalone app. Bringing this into your application, it lights it up. Maybe, for example, you want to do a digital transformation. We have customers that have like legacy apps, and they need to add value to continue to ensure to their customers that they're working on this product, that there's value here. So how can we do that? Well, we can start taking some of this intelligence and data in their app and showing them graphs and charts about the data that you're collecting, or you can offer them a self-service BI capability. It doesn't matter. But the goal is that they're in context, in place, looking at data. So why should you care? Well, enabling this real-time reporting, including interactive data visualizations, machine learning, is really critical to app success. So there was a survey by Gartner, and 87% of application providers say that embedded analytics is important to their users. So they went out and they asked their users, would you like to have just reports that you have to print or go to some external site, or would you like all this embedded in context in place as you're trying to make decisions? And of course, the in context in place as we're making decisions ends up being what they asked for. And of course, if you use an embedded BI solution, you are saving hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in development time. This doesn't mean you don't need a dev team. You will need a dev team to implement embedded BI, but you're not creating it yourself. So we also have since we're a developer tools company, we have customers that buy Reveal and our developers tools products. So maybe they're using our Angular product, our Blazor product, our Windows Forms product, WPF, whatever, but they want to integrate BI because they're like, oh, wow, this might cost a little bit more, but I don't have to write all that code to do all these charts and all this analytics myself. No, you don't. It does it for you. And you will see that in today's demo. So we did a presentation over the last, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe, about all of the advantages to embedded analytics with a bunch of statistics and things like that. If you go to our website, revealbi.io, and go to the past webinars, you can watch a recording of it. But there's 4 real major advantages of offering embedded analytics in your application. So number 1, hands down, is increased productivity. There's a statistic that humans have reduced their attention span by 4 seconds in the last 15 to 20 years, which means now goldfish have a longer attention span than human beings. And the reason is we have so much going on with pop-up notifications, texts coming in, emails coming in, messages from Slack, messages from Slingshot, all these things happening all at once. So we can't really focus. So the more that you can increase your employees' productivity or your customers' productivity, the more benefit they're going to get from your application. Data-driven culture and decision-making, we talk about this a lot in our webinars, but this is critical to driving revenue, all kinds of studies about that. Delivering a competitive advantage in your product. Let's say you have a couple competitors in the market and everyone's kind of in the same boat. Everyone has the same type of application. Maybe if you just like hide the logo, they all kind of do the same thing. If you offer embedded analytics, you're immediately have a leg up on your competition. And if they don't know that it's embedded and they think you did all this work, it's going to take them, years to catch up to where you're at. And then increase revenue. This comes in 2 different ways. Increase revenue from your product being better, having a better competitive advantage, offering increased productivity, but also we have customers that sell embedded analytics as an add-on. So for example, let's say your product costs $5,000. Maybe they buy the analytics module for another $1,000. Now your product is $6,000. Let's say you have 500 customers. That ends up being a lot of money over time, just adding analytics to your application. So let's get into this. All right, so what I'm going to show you today, we're going to start with this basic HTML file called test.html. Before you do any of this stuff, what you need to do is go to, let's bring this over. You need to go to revealbi.io. And at revealbi.io, there is a button that says download SDK. So when you download the SDK, you fill in a few bits of information, you will, you'll get an installation package that you install onto your machine. What that does is in your user's public folder, there's going to be an Infragistics Reveal folder, and that adds a sample application, which is, I think it's an MVC.NET application. It adds a WPF, a Windows Forms application, does a bunch of stuff. But primarily what it also does is it gives you the client-side libraries and sample dashboards and Nuget packages that you can use to create your application. So here, if I go to, let me open this up in, I think I've got a folder here I can show. Here we go. Oh no, this is a different folder. Let's go to C, users, public documents, Infragistics, Reveal, SDK. So this is where all of the goodness gets installed. And if I open this guy in Visual Studio, what you're going to see as I slide Visual Studio open, let me wait till it opens up here. Hold on one sec. Continue. Here is Visual Studio. What this installs is WPF sample, Windows Forms sample, and a web sample. And through this, you can learn about all of the capabilities of the application and what it does. So here, if we look at like index.html, it's very basic. you've got marketing HTML. You're just going to see how to exercise the API. And that's the whole goal of these samples, is that each one of them is a little bit unique. So it has like, external filters or external buttons to load dashboards or things to slide dashboards right and left. The idea with any sample is that you run it, you play with it, and you kind of see how things go. So that's what's going to be most important. Probably the very first time you download Reveal. What we're going to do now is we're going to use a couple of the files that get installed. So you'll notice in the web folder, there's a JS folder. And inside here, there's a client folder. In the client folder, there's something called Infragistics Reveal.js. That's the client library. That's what we're going to use in our application today. I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to minimize this. And I'm actually going to bring up one more web page, because everything that you're seeing today is also available on GitHub. So of course, all of our samples are on GitHub. Let's go to GitHub and we'll go to Reveal BI. And I'm going to paste this in. I am going to go to samples JavaScript. And you've got a ton of great samples here that show you how to really use everything about Reveal. So let me paste this into the chat. Everyone can go there, and then everyone can also go here. Control C, Control V. And then the other nice thing here is, I think in the getting started, maybe not the getting started, loading dashboards. Okay, in the loading dashboards, I've got a few notes here, but I'll remember where I put this, but I actually have some code snippets. Oh, here they are, reveal.code snippets. So these code snippets are Visual Studio Code snippets that I'm going to use today, and they're all up here on GitHub. So just download these and then add them to your own Visual Studio Code, and everything that you see today is going to be available to you. So you don't even have to think. No, David, that's the whole point. We don't use iframe. So if you're looking for an iframe solution, Reveal is not what the answer is. This is an embedded SDK. The problem with iframe solutions, there's so many problems. Number one, customization. Number two, branding. Number three, security. Number four, it's like really bolt on. So the entire user experience doesn't feel like your app. So an iframe would basically take something like Power BI and just stick that in your application. And the best that you can do is like click hyperlinks and then kind of load things in. And I think like Looker, they offer iframe, and the best you can do is like customize, I think, the fonts. But everything you're doing here is through an SDK. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code. And here I've already added my Reveal Infragistics Reveal.js to this application. So what I'm going to do is just go through and use my code snippets just so you see how easy this is. So the first thing that we need to do is use a CSS link for Quill.js. The reason we use Quill.js is in some of the dialogues we have editors, and the Quill is actually a really useful editor that if you've never used Quill, check it out online. It's actually pretty sweet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a div, and this div is just going to be called Reveal View. Reveal View is where we're going to load our dashboard. So if you were thinking like, oh, we're going to stick an iframe in our app, this essentially would be the iframe. The difference is we're actually going to load in the component into this div. Now, the next thing that we want to do is insert some of the JavaScript dependency links that are required for this application. So here, let me just kind of move this stuff over a little bit. There we go. We've got a few things happening. We're using jQuery, so we can use selectors. Basically, that's the only reason we use it. Quill JavaScript, we have a date time guy here, and then our Reveal.js file, which is right here under the Reveal folder. Whoops, so let me go back here. It's not under assets, so let me just hit .reveal, Infragistics Reveal.js. And then finally, what I want to do is insert the JavaScript function which is actually going to load the dashboard. So what you can see here is a simple JavaScript file. And this is the key. When I said embedded BI in under 10 minutes, I'm assuming the server is set up. After I show you this, we're going to go ahead and set up the server. But I have a server running online, and this is at samples.reveal.bi up media. That's a sample. You can actually click it and run it. And I'm going to load in the sales dashboard, and I'm going to hit save. I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to open in my default browser. And there you go. Just like that, we loaded a dashboard from the server. Now, if you think about, we have a client SDK and a server SDK. The server SDK does a lot of stuff like authentication, authorization. If you want to override where we save things, if you want to customize data sources, there's a bunch of things you can do on the server. On the client library, we also do some data connectivity and things like that. But the big thing is all of the interactive stuff that you can do with the product. So for example, we have things like built-in filters. So this is a dashboard filter that allows me to do drop downs. Your end users can select items and things just magically get updated. I can do date filters. So let's say I just want to show everything from this year. I can apply this and all of my dates change. I can expand these visualizations. I can do things like linear regressions, outlier detection, time series forecasting. So here, if I detect outliers, it looks like we have a couple outliers here. If I don't like this visualization, I can change it for something different, like so. So just like that, my dashboard changes, and your end user has all of this capability. You don't have to write any code to do any of this stuff. However, because it is an API, you can hide this button. You can hide this button. And even maybe more important, you can hide this button, which lets them click edit. Now I'm in the dashboard editor. So here, this dashboard was already created. So it's showing me here's all the fields for my dashboard. Here are the fields that make up this visualization on the right-hand side. And let's just go ahead and remove all this stuff. And I'm going to change the visualization here. You'll notice we have all these built-in visualizations, so you can pick whatever you want. I'm just going to select a grid visualization, and I'm going to drag some columns over here, quota, territory, hot leads. Okay, so now what this is doing is it's basically just listing all the stuff. I'm going to get rid of quota. I'm going to put hot leads up there. You can see, or no, let's leave territory actually up there. So I got territory, 101 APAC, APAC 130, APAC, but I want to show all of this aggregated. Well, all you got to do is show it in a chart. And like magic, you get data inside of the chart, except for some reason, because I have a dashboard filter. So let me clear my filter, go all time, hit apply, and let's do select all of the data. And I still don't have any hot leads. That's strange. New sales, or I don't know what's going on with hot leads there. But anyway, we'll have to look and see why that didn't work. Casey's online. She might be able to tell me why hot leads in territory didn't work. But this is territory new sales. So it does all of the aggregation for you. You don't have to worry about anything. And then on each one of these items, you have properties that you can set. So for example, you can see here, it's blackened out a little bit now. I don't know now how it's coming across on the screen, but like 9,000, 8,000, etc. I want to use large number formatting. I can click update field, and now it takes up less room, looks a little bit more polished, and sort of just kind of looks better. So I don't have to see all those zeros. All right, Casey said the demo file has no hot leads. Okay, well, maybe that's why. Maybe it is 0. The other thing you can do is change the color. So here I have control in the app over the color, but again, you also have complete control over colors in the API. So you can pass RGB values and strings to this. And as I hover over tooltips, you can see I have tooltips with its exact data. I can also set min and max on the axis bounds. And actually that probably was the problem. Again, because I had this set, so that might have been an issue with that chart. But anyway, the nice thing is, if I don't like the column chart and I want to do a line chart, I can just change it and here we go. I can check the box, and now I have a data visualization. And in fact, if I go back in here and edit this, I want to show you a couple more things. I can change this to just say new title for demo and say done here. And then for the field names, I can also change my field names. So here, like, you know, I'll just say second territory like so and click done. And now what's going to happen is the second territory is what the users are going to see. They're not going to see the underlying field name. Why is that important? Because maybe you have some weird thing coming in from your database that no one knows what it means, and you can just actually make it read better and look better. So I'll check the box, I'll minimize this, and here I am back in my data visualization. I'll click the checkbox. Because of the way Reveal works, every time that you save or load a dashboard, we're actually looking for a known folder name called dashboards. We'll always look to that folder for dashboards, and we'll always save things to that dashboard. So you actually don't have to write any save code. And then some other neat things here. Let me see if our exporter will work. Let me do an export to Excel. I'll export all my sheets. So this export occurs, and let's open up the sales.xlsx file, and I'll enable editing. Nice thing about this, we don't just export the data. We also create a real chart or visualization inside of Excel for you. So this is actually a real chart. It's not an image. So you get complete control over, again, how exports work. So that's as simple as it is to get BI embedded in a JavaScript example. The code for this particular sample is under loading dashboards. I think it's loading dashboards, this guy here, under client index.html, and again, also in my my code snippets. But let's say you need to set up the client and the server. So let's go ahead and close these guys out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new instance of Visual Studio, and I'm going to move it over to this monitor here. So here I am in Visual Studio. I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to create an ASP.NET Core Web API. We support Node.js, .NET Core, and Java. So any backend that you have in your application, we fully support. All the samples are in that GitHub repo. We can just call it Web Application 2. That's fine. I'm going to select all of the defaults here. So now in the client application, what we did was we added that reveal.js file, so it lights up the client app. What we're going to do in the server application, because you need a client and a server, right? You know, because that's just like any other application. And if you're doing WPF, it's the same app, right? And even if you're doing like Blazor server, it's kind of like the same app. But I'm going to get the Reveal server package from Nuget. So I'm going to go to nuget.org. I'm going to type in Reveal BI like so. I'm going to select ASP.NET Core trial. I'm going to install this guy. So now this will be installed in this application. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this and then load this URL in that application that we just built. So that's installed. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to right click. I'm going to add a new folder. Because all my dashboards are coming from the server, I need to stick dashboards into this folder. So let's create the dashboards folder. We work off of these known folder names. So I'm going to add some new dashboards here. So I'm going to add existing item, and let's go to our C users, public documents, infragistics, reveal, SDK, and we can take samples from anywhere in here. So if we go to web sample, this sample, we've got dashboards, and I can just select all these. And now I have 4 dashboards here. So let me close this. Let me close this. We can save that. Now I've added the Nuget package as a dependency. So here is the Reveal ASP.NET Core trial. Here's my dashboards. I still actually have to tell my application to use Reveal. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say use Reveal SDK. Whoops, reveal.SDK like so, and it's not using reveal.sdk. Sorry about that. And then we have here builder.services.add controllers. We need to add reveal to that. So we're going to say add reveal like so. So now now we're done, right? So let's say that you deploy everything up to Azure and you're ready to go. You can right click on this project in Visual Studio and deploy to Azure. There's one minor difference here. Since we are using a local host, so I'm going to use two server and client on the same page, I need to use cores on this project. So let me copy my use cores thing here. So I'm just going to copy this over from another sample. And right before app run, I just want to say, if I'm in the development environment, use cores and allow all this stuff. Just let me do my work on my client, and then I'm ready to go. Now, check this out. We're going to hit run. And you'll notice it also installed Swashbuckle. So this is a .NET Core app, minimal API, which means it's using Swagger. So here, this guy loaded up on the other machine. You can see that I get all of the available API from Reveal, from the SDK. So like, wait a minute, I don't have to write all this code. No, you don't. You get it for free. So there is one get and a bunch of posts. There's another get, but here, let's just do get dashboard file ID. Let's try this out. And we know we've got campaigns, manufacturing, marketing, sales. Let's type in here sales like so, click execute. So now this is going against my server, and you can see that here is the JSON representation of that dashboard. Now, if I type in, that, because that's definitely not in our folder, we get an error, right? So this is a regular web API. So how is Reveal client talking to Reveal server? Through a web API. It's exactly how you're going to create your own application. So check this out. This is localhost 7112. I'm going to copy this guy, minimize this. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. Here, I've got, oops, let me just paste this in so I don't forget it. Here, remember we said we set this base URL because we went to this Java backend up in the client. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this right here. Let's comment this guy out. Let's take this, Control X, and we are going to Control V right into here. And we're going to go right against our local host, which is running at the moment. Control S, I want to load up sales, right click, open in default browser. Let's open this guy over here. And like magic, it just works. So now we'll kind of maybe put this guy here. We will put our, where's our Visual Studio Code right here. And let's just change this to marketing and hit save. And we'll hit refresh and marketing. Oh yeah, marketing actually has a problem. I got to refresh all of the data sources on it. Let's do campaigns like so. And I'll hit save and we'll refresh. And there's my campaigns dashboard, all of the capabilities that you saw earlier. Now, most of the time you're going to, maybe load up a whole dashboard like this, which is fine. Sometimes you might have a dashboard selector. What I did in this little sample is it's the same exact code, except I want to update this. I want to update this guy here to test.html. I want to use the correct URL. Let's paste this in. So I'm going against my local host, basically. What I did on this sample is I just added a selector, campaigns, manufacturing, marketing, sales. I added this to a function. So when you click the guy, it's going to load the dashboard. So it's just a minor modification. So if I right click, I open this in my default browser, campaigns loaded up. Here's manufacturing. Here's marketing. Remember, it's hosed. And then here's sales. And to prove to you, there's another thing that happened here that you might have noticed. You notice that the markers look different because there's another setting that I actually added onto this, this visualization. inside of the Reveal SDK, we're actually updating our charts. So we have a new feature and it says enable new charts. And so what I wanted to do is also demonstrate that, hey, you can also use the old charts, which everyone has right now. So if there's any customers online, you're using the other charts. These new charts just have a little bit better visualization, some more features, and we're just going to keep improving them. But that's how easy it is to get this guy working. I mean, in no time, we have a selector with changing to dashboards. We have a server set up, which with a web API. And this webinar, literally, we've been working for maybe 20 minutes. Now, one last thing that I want to show you before we just wrap this thing up is that I also did here I have a Blazor app I've been working on. I did a webinar a couple weeks ago on Blazor. In fact, I'm doing one tonight at 8 p.m. if anyone's interested. It's up on our website. You can join and log in, and we're going to create a Blazor app using Reveal or Blazor server app. So the difference between doing something like this in Blazor and just plain old JavaScript is, of course, Blazor has this server and client app all in the same piece, right? So you have to use the IJS runtime interface, and all you're doing is basically your code is calling a JavaScript function, right? So all of this is happening on the client. It just happens to be done a little bit differently. So there's a function here called reveal view, and that should look awfully familiar to you guys. Here's going to the, and by the way, this is a Java backend. So this is written in Java using our Java SDK. But what's cool about this is it's also using the page navigator. So I've got this dashboard viewer here, and we are passing values between two pages. So if I click run, what you're going to see here is a bunch of thumbnails of dashboards. So that looks pretty cool. A little more fancy than, you know, my basic HTML app. And when I click on one of these, we pass the dashboard that we want to the new page, and then it loads it up. So if I go back, and this is like a work in progress, it's not anywhere near being done yet, but it just gives you an idea that, you know, however you want to do this, you can do it. It makes it super easy to just create beautiful visualizations, beautiful dashboards, and this has a bunch of different visualizations up on the server. And in fact, in this guy here, if I go to reveal view, you know, I wonder if that's not working because of that. Let's go ahead and run this again. I noticed my new charts weren't showing up. Let's see if this does anything to make it look a little bit better. Nope. I don't know what the heck happened there. Oh, I might. Well, 90% guaranteed it's something I did wrong. So anyway, I wanted to highlight that there's all kinds of interesting ways you can do this. It doesn't have to be just, oh, here's a selector, or here's a full screen. You can have this in a list. You can do images. We actually have a thumbnail viewer that allows you to get thumbnails. And then I have another sample here. And again, this is a Blazor sample. And the difference in this guy is if I go to index.razor, I'm pulling in the dashboards from my server, and I'm binding them to a Infragistics Blazor combo box. So it just looks a little bit different. So here is the Blazor default app. Here is my combo box, and I can just select items from here, and I can load them up. So any way that you want to do it. So hopefully with this very quick, you know, view of what you can do inside of Reveal with the client and the server SDK, you get the idea that you are literally, I would say, roughly 20 minutes away from embedding BI into your own applications. It is not difficult. All of our samples are up on GitHub, up on YouTube, revealbi.io. Let me go to youtube.com, revealbi. And here, let me see, there's a playlist called Getting Started with Reveal. I'm going to copy this into,
sometimes you need to,
whoops, I'm going to copy this into the chat. So if you, whoops, no, copy this into the chat, copy, paste. There we go. That is the playlist for
in this video, you're going to
basically setting up the server, setting up the client, doing everything that you need to really get started with Reveal. It's pretty simple. It really is. And then if you have time, join us tonight at 8 p.m. But, you know, we have a bunch of webinars at youtube.com/revealbi. That's our main website for Reveal. It's not, all these are not on infragistics.com. So you can just go here and see all of the old webinars, all the old videos, everything is up there. And what we're really trying to do is be prescriptive around scenarios. So it's super simple for you to get started. So to wrap up, start today using Reveal to drive data-driven culture with embedded BI. Contact sales at infragistics.com for a demo, or just shoot Casey or myself an email. I know I have some outstanding emails to customers. So if anyone's on the webinar today and I owe you an email, I will absolutely get to it this week. I was out a bit, but thank you, everyone. I know your time is valuable. I appreciate it. And we will see you at the next webinar. Thanks again. And thank you, Casey and Jesse, for setting everything up.